Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Counting on Joy Anna Duggar recalls horrifying dating tradition. Counting on alum Joy Anna Duggar Forsyth is getting a lot of attention following her recent podcast. The 26-year-old shared some heartbreaking stories about her family, especially when things fell apart after Jill and Duggar released their books. However, it also gave her a realization regarding her faith. Another thing that Joy Anna talked about was the horrifying dating tradition of her family. Keep reading to see what it was. Counting on Joy Anna Duggar shares family's hard time. One of the topics Joy Anna talked about in the Unplanned podcast was about one of the darkest times of her family. According to the Counting on alum, Jill and Duggar's books against the IBLP brought them so much stress. My siblings and my parents and all this stuff was super hard at that time, she recalled, as her parents were put in the hot seat for months following the memoirs. The mother of three even confessed questioning if everything that's been happening to their family was real. But she was also thankful that her sister's memoirs somehow enlightened her when it comes to her beliefs. Joy Anna recalls horrifying dating tradition. Joy Anna Duggar Forsyth also talked about the horrifying dating tradition of her family during the same podcast. According to the former Counting on star, her dad would regularly file hundreds of guys who wanted to date his daughters, adding that some of them were even prison inmates. She later revealed that there were so many letters from random men almost every day, and Michelle had to read them first. My mom obviously would read them first because she's like, "This is weird." But then we all laugh about it, she added. Meanwhile, Austin revealed that Jim Bob has a vetting process for men who want to date his daughters. This is obviously when the show was still blown and going, he said, adding that it was the reason why Jim Bob wanted to have a month and a half of relationship with him before allowing him for his daughter. Counting on Joy Anna Duggar shares first-time breaking rules with Austin Forsyth. During the same podcast, Joy Anna Duggar Forsyth shared the time when she and Austin broke a courtship rule for the first time. According to the Counting on alum, she held Austin's hands for about 15 minutes when he totaled his truck. Jim Bob and one of his sons were there, and Joy Anna's brother told her dad about it. Joy Anna admitted that her father looked disappointed about it, but it seems it never became a big deal due to the incident. Joy Anna Duggar Forsyth, star of Counting On and former cast member of 19 Kids and Counting, recently opened up about a deeply unsettling dating tradition she endured during her time living under her parents' roof. As the Duggar family has become known for their extremely conservative lifestyle, much of their practices concerning courtship and dating have come under scrutiny over the years. While the family has portrayed their traditions as wholesome and godly, Joy Anna's revelations offer a glimpse into a much darker, more controlling side of these practices. Growing up in the Duggar household, the concept of dating was an entirely foreign one. Instead, they adhered to a practice known as courtship, which was touted as a more serious, God-centered approach to relationships. Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, the patriarch and matriarch of the family, often emphasized that courtship was about finding a life partner with the intention of marriage, not casual dating or emotional flings. While this might sound innocent on the surface, Joy Anna's recount of the experience paints a picture of control, fear, and pressure. The setup, rules of courtship. From an early age, Joy Anna, like her siblings, was taught that emotional and physical purity was paramount. The Duggars believed in strict boundaries when it came to relationships. There was no touching, no private time together, and certainly no unsupervised dates. Every courtship had to be approved by Jim Bob, and the potential suitor had to go through a rigorous vetting process. Jim Bob played the role of the gatekeeper, ensuring that any young man interested in one of his daughters shared his conservative Christian values, was financially stable, and most importantly, was prepared to lead a household with the same patriarchal beliefs. Joy Anna recalls how these courtships felt more like business transactions or interviews than genuine opportunities to get to know someone. It wasn't about whether you liked the guy or if you had any chemistry, Joy Anna shared in a candid interview. It was more about whether he could provide for you, whether he was deemed spiritually worthy, and whether dad approved. The courtship process also involved constant chaperoning. Joy Anna remembered how her dates were never really just about her and the person she was courting. There was always someone watching, listening, and it wasn't just to keep us from crossing physical boundaries, she revealed. It was to make sure we were adhering to the Duggar expectations, to make sure our conversations were pure, our emotions were kept in check, and our ultimate goal was marriage. The horrifying tradition, emotional manipulation. But perhaps the most horrifying aspect of Joy-Anna's courtship experiences was what she described as emotional manipulation, maced as accountability. Joy-Anna recalled a particularly disturbing tradition where her parents would stage emotion checks throughout her courtship. At random points during the relationship, Jim, Bob, and Michelle would ask invasive questions about her feelings. But these weren't just casual inquiries. They were more like interrogations designed to ensure that Joy-Anna was staying in line with their courtship rules. They would ask me questions like, do you feel more attracted to him now than you did before? Do you think about him when you're alone? Are you praying about your feelings? Joy-Anna explained. The pressure to answer these questions in a way that would please her parents became overwhelming. She found herself constantly second-guessing her emotions and feeling guilty for even the smallest stirrings of affection. If I said I felt anything remotely romantic, they would remind me that my heart belonged to God first and that I needed to guard it, Joy-Anna said. It was like they wanted to control not just my actions but my thoughts and emotions too. Courtship and control. Jim Bob's dominance. Another chilling aspect of the courtship process, according to Joy-Anna, was how much control her father wielded. Jim Bob had the final say in almost every aspect of the relationship. He would determine how fast or slow things should progress, how often Joy-Anna could see her suitor, and even whether the relationship could continue at all. It wasn't about what I wanted, Joy-Anna recalled. If my dad decided that a courtship was going too fast, he would shut it down. If he thought a guy wasn't spiritually leading me in the right way, that was the end of it. There was no room for me to say, but I like him, or I want to see where this goes. Joy-Anna remembered one particularly devastating courtship where she had begun to develop real feelings for the person she was seeing. She had started to imagine a future with him, but Jim Bob intervened, saying that he didn't feel the suitor was a spiritual match for her. I was heartbroken, Joy-Anna said, but there was no arguing with Dad. I was told that God had a better plan for me, and that I needed to trust my parents' judgment. Looking back, I realize how much of that was about control. Aftermath. Breaking free. Joy-Anna eventually married Austin Forsyth, a young man who also came from a conservative Christian family. Their courtship was no different from the others, full of chaperones, rules, and constant oversight. But once they were married, Joy-Anna began to realize just how deeply her family's courtship traditions had affected her. In the years since leaving her parents' home and starting her own family, Joy-Anna has begun to reflect on the trauma of those early relationships. I never really got to experience dating in a normal way, she confessed. I never got to figure out who I was or what I wanted in a relationship without my parents' influence. It was all about what they thought was right for me. Now, as a mother herself, Joy-Anna is determined to do things differently with her own children. I want my kids to have freedom, she said. I want them to know that they can trust their own feelings and make their own choices. I don't want them to feel the kind of pressure I did. Joy-Anna's story is a sobering reminder of how controlling family dynamics, even under the guise of religious tradition, can have long-lasting impacts on a person's emotional and mental health. While the Duggars may have promoted courtship as a godly, pure alternative to dating, for Joy-Anna, it was a system that left her feeling powerless and confused. As she continues to raise her own family, she hopes to break the cycle of control and give her children the freedom to chart their own paths in life and love.